Ah, the Disney Renaissance, stretching from the start of it, Little Mermaid, to the ever epic Beauty and the Beast, to Aladdin, to my personal and a lot of people's favorite and most highest gross rating, The Lion King, to, of course, the ever majestic story of Mulan. Surely the sequel to Mulan, such a striking, bold movie, would bring great honor to the franchise, and, well, that failed.
Dishonor
Yeah.
this franchise.
Yeah, Mulan 2 was a direct-to-video. Did this one come out on VHS?
Direct to DVD, direct to video. Let's just say direct to video. You know what's a sad thing?
Because I'm on the Range. Because I'm on the Range was the last of the theatrical Disney films to come out on VHS, and this came out in the same year. So maybe it also came out on VHS. I don't remember. I'll have to look it.
You know, sadly enough, most of the Disney Renaissance films had mostly okay at worst and sometimes legit good sequels. Like, you know, we had Aladdin 2, The Return of Jafar, which wasn't terrible. It was actually pretty good. We had Lion King 2, pretty good. We shall never speak of its name with what the Beauty and the Beast sequels were, but okay, you know what?
We had Cinderella 2 as well.
You know what?
God.
Cinderella's not part of the Disney Renaissance. I'm talking about Renaissance stuff.
Oh, okay.
With Beauty and the
Mulan 2
Beast, I guess we at
indeed.
least had Tim Burton as the villain, so that was good enough for the first sequel of it.
Apparently, Mulan 2 did release in VHS in 2005.
I mean, VHS was still a thing
Oh,
around the
dear.
time.
It was.
Weird.
It was around that
Weird.
time where we were still wondering whether or not DVD was going to fully replace VHS. Guess we have that answer now. We're moving on to Blu-ray at this point.
Well, it's more cheap to mass produce, so I never understood why was there even a doubt to begin with. But anyway,
Because
moving
people
on.
liked VHS, but I digress.
Let's get started.
All right, so yeah, basically everybody tune up your Blu-ray. Yes, this thing came out on Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, I guess. But if you still have that, and
Which you may.
basically, and be sure to start in the black screen right before the Disney logo starts showing up.
And by
it's
Disney logo, we mean the regular 2D blue
The
light
classic
one.
Disney logo from
Yes.
the 90s.
Well, sure, let's remember, to some youngins, classic Disney logo may be the CGI 3D one.
All right, let's start this then. 3, 2, 1, click.
It's
Basically,
actually not a
everybody, of all
surprise.
the-
CG.
It's actually
Of all
not a
the
Sorry, do you want to go first?
of all the Disney sequels, this is regarded by a lot of people as one of the top worst ones.
If not the worst.
The one that pisses me off.
It's one of the ones that pisses me off the most.
This is interesting getting into this movie. This is a commentary from people who liked the first one of whom, i.e., me, didn't really.
Well, that's you, though.
Well, not everyone's gonna like every movie, you know.
Well, it makes
I
it.
know,
Well,
I
that,
know.
well, look at it this way, dude. At least that way you won't be held back by your nostalgia or love
Like
for the
bias
first
or
movie.
anything.
So you'll be able to judge this, I guess, a bit more as it's some.
Oh, you don't have to
Yeah,
worry about
yes.
me letting nostalgia blind me or whatnot. I mean, because, I just judge each movie as they come and go, which is kind of a necessity when doing with Disney sequels.
Is this a remake of The Emperor's New Groove?
Funny you should mention that, Dwibs. It's funny you should mention that. So here's Mushu, not played by Eddie Murphy, already a downgrade.
He's played by the same actor who will later play him in Kingdom Hearts 2.
I thought Eddie Murphy actually did.
Mark Mosley.
I thought Eddie Murphy actually did come back for Kingdom Hearts 2.
No, he didn't.
Is Mark Mosley basically one of
Ha
basically
ha! Get it?
an
He thinks he's
experienced-
the Emperor.
He's an ex-
2006.
he's an experienced
Hold on.
sound-alike.
Yeah. Fair enough, yeah, it's just, I don't know. Already, I prefer Eddie Murphy.
Same. Well, that's just obvious. You can't just replace Eddie Murphy. There's
Funnily enough, he was Mushu's singing voice.
Huh. According to IMDb, it's interesting. IMDb has lists a subtitle for this, even though it's never shown in the movie or the cover itself. It says Mulan II: The Final War. I don't understand where
Huh.
this subtitle comes from.
Oh,
because it's never
I
shown in the
know.
actual-
I've
where-
never heard of that subtitle before.
I know
actually.
where it comes from, but now might not be a good time for me to say it. Let's just say
Sure.
this right now, scrapped plans, but I'll build up more on that later.
And look at that. We get to kind of try a similar opening to the original.
Okay. I will start off with a positive to this one. As far as the animation goes, this is pretty good. In fact, it actually feels like a natural evolution to the original film's animation.
Yeah,
Good
I'm
stuff.
checking right now. Jova. Mushu in this movie is played by Mark Mosley, who also
Yeah.
played him in Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm saying
Mark
right here on IMDb.
Mosley. Who the heck was... I feel like I've heard that name
It's
before.
like I said earlier. He's an experienced sound alike, and he did Mushu's singing voice in the first film.
Wait, Mushu sang in the
really?
first film?
Eddie Murphy can sing, so I guess that makes
Oh,
sense.
no.
I
Eddie
heard
Murphy...
I heard him-
Pedro, Eddie Murphy can sing. What's
One of his
Dreamgirls?
songs is in GTA 5.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was in Shrek. So why didn't he sing in Mulan then?
I don't know.
Oh,
Sometimes
again,
movies do
again,
this
again,
weird
again,
thing
again.
Because
Again,
I mean, in MLP, Twilight Sparkle, like her singing voice is not Tara Strong, except Tara Strong can actually sing. So not sure why it isn't
All
Tara
right,
Strong.
okay.
All right, allow me to start off by listing the one positive thing I will say about this movie. The animation for direct-to-video standards, is actually pretty impressive. It actually looks pretty much on par with the animation of the first movie. You can still tell it's a direct-to-video movie, but you can tell the animators are trying their hardest to mimic the look and feel of the original.
So
Okay.
they, So they
I'll
put
admit,
in they put in the most effort in the worst ones.
No, not all the worst ones.
Not all the worst ones, but it can happen. Like Brother Bear 2 is crap, but it has some of the most beautiful animation in the Disney sequel canon for some reason.
Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, this one feels like one of the animation styles that actually feels like, a proper evolution of the original one. In some ways, it actually does even look better. Also, I will say this, I actually do like the opening joke about Mulan's father and her grandmother having a bet on how long it'll take for her to tie the knot. That's actually funny. Enjoy the actual comedy here while you can, folks.
So Milan's still voiced by Ming Na.
Ming Na,
Makes
yeah.
sense. Who is
Ming Na has always voiced Mulan in literally every like even when she appears in Princess Sophia, it's still Ming Na doing the voice. It's always Ming Na.
It's funny how she would later go on to be an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mulan has always been consistently voiced by two people: Ming Na for speaking and Lea Salonga in the singing.
So anyway, I'll just ask again, when did Mushu sing in the original film? I mean, okay, unless you count his one line during "I'll make a man out of you" as singing, even though I really just found that as talking more so. I don't recall him singing in the first Mulan flick.
I'll have to go back and watch it. Whatever. Right now, we're got our hands tied with this one. All right, so this is the first song of the movie that we're about to hear. It's probably the only song in this movie that I don't mind. It's not that good.
It's actually people's favorite, really, in terms of stacking them up against the rest of the songs in the movie.
Well, that's
Gee,
just obvious.
I wonder why.
On its own, though, it's just a very filler-ish song because she's teaching these girls
About how to fight, essentially.
About how to fight, basically.
With balance.
Here's the problem. This doesn't really go anywhere. It has nothing to do with the main conflict of the story that we're going to introduce later on. So this entire song is just filler. Really.
Okay, to be fair, a Disney filler song, that's nothing new. Like, some of the best Disney films have had that. The problem is that, honestly, when we actually get to the actual plot of this movie, you'll wish this was more the plot of this movie.
That's just the thing, Jova. Like, remember, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, the two men responsible for the Little Mermaid Renaissance musical thing, they were the ones who specifically committed that the key to these movies would be for the songs to work and help progress the story forward. So
what was Little Mermaid's excuse then?
Well, which song didn't?
I mean, okay. Yes, Under the Sea is my favorite song, but when you get down to it, that song is essentially filler when you get down to it.
Well, it's I would argue that it's more Sebastian trying to show Ariel how she doesn't need to look for the human world, how the world. He's trying to convince her that the world she already lives in is already beautiful, and she should just try to appreciate what she has rather than try to long for something she doesn't. I would argue that that's what the point of the song is. It's not like. I mean, you can argue that you can argue that the lyrics could be maybe a bit more explanatory in that, but I don't think it's pointless. I would argue.
Speaking of lyrics,
it's a technicality anyway, and like I said, just because something is filler doesn't necessarily make it bad. And some of the songs in Beauty and the Beast are technically filler, but again, filler can be good because. Okay, the sense of something being filler isn't always how much it ties into the actual main plot. It can also just be about the actual main conflict or whatnot.
Yeah, speaking of... Oh.
Yes?
Oh, it's on the subject of this movie. I was going to say, speaking of the lyrics, these ones aren't particularly...
No, they're not.
Great.
They're fine.
But that's the thing, Jova. The thing is, this song doesn't do any of those two things you mentioned. It doesn't really tie into anything.
Yeah, true. Like, what I mean? There are songs that I would call filler, but even they do a better job of at least fleshing out the character.
This is only the first listen. I can't imagine to think of the songs they do.
Don't worry, Libs. Like me and Jova just discussed, this entire thing about her teaching the girls goes nowhere, and we immediately forget about it from this point on. So don't worry.
That is, in many people's opinions, the best song.
Don't worry, Libs. That's the end of the Mulan teaching little girls subplot. We're done.
That's the thing. It's like it's a serviceable song, but it's not serviceable to this movie or its plot.
Okay. Let me put it this. Be Our Guest is technically a filler song, but it's a filler song that works for actually building up what things are like in the Beast Castle. This will have nothing to do with absolutely nothing.
No, it won't. Like you
like
can
not
basically
even Mulan's own conflict for this movie.
It's only here to pad out the running time so that it's somewhat close to feature length. You can literally cut out this song from the movie and just start with Shang's proposal, and nothing would be lost. Nothing really.
It's kind of weird commentating on this film now, considering that Disney Toon shut down just not too long ago.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but as far as soundtracks go, this is definitely one of my least favorite Disney sequel soundtracks. Like, I'll even take Hunchback.
You mean the score?
Well, I'm talking about soundtrack as in the songs that are sung. But the score itself, that's fine. When it comes to, soundtracks, I would even take the Hunchback sequel soundtrack over this one.
Oh, Joe, I'll have to mention. They brought back Pat
Wait, hold on, this bit.
Okay.
Ha! Okay.
All right. Points for one funny joke.
Again. I like that subplot. Problem is that subplot's over with now. Anyway,
okay. Whenever Emperor Kuzco interrupted stuff in the Emperor's New Groove, he was funny.
Oh no, not time to bring up that bit yet.
All right, Dwibs. We all know your stance on your history with sound-alike, so get out of your system. Go ahead.
Well, I would, but remember, I have to keep the volume down on my phone, and I can't turn it up otherwise.
Okay, let's sum it up then. He tries, but he doesn't sound at all like Eddie Murphy.
Okay, he sounds a bit like Eddie Murphy. It's just he sounds like an obviously exaggerated take on Eddie Murphy.
Like he's definitely trying. I
can't put the phone close to my ear, and I can hear it.
Okay. Joven Shiroi. For comparison, would you say he did a better work in Kingdom Hearts 2?
Okay, yeah. Because I'll admit, like I said before, I actually thought that was Eddie Murphy in Kingdom Hearts 2.
That came after this, though, so he had some time to practice.
Okay,
2 years later, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he gets the attitude down, but not the voice.
So, okay, question. Is the guy playing Musha here, and don't worry, I'm not going to do a race joke, but is the guy playing Musha here Caucasian?
White. He's white, yeah. He's a white.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I can definitely tell. It's a shame because Troy Baker showed that he can actually do a pretty good black man's voice by playing
but that's Troy Baker, Jova. Like, there's nothing he can't do.
So all I'm trying to hear is here to celebrate their marriage, and you know what? I wish their marriage were the main plot of this movie, but no, it's not.
Well, it's more so Mulan's village rather than the country itself.
Well, Shang was just joking about that. Although
Oh,
I
okay,
wouldn't
then.
be surprised if some of China did come to visit.
Well, Mulan is an incredibly popular woman in the entire country anyway, so I guess it would make some sense. Okay, so here we're about to establish one of the primary main
Oh
conflicts.
boy. Okay, this is where
Oh
we.
god, this is where it's being
Okay,
started. Okay.
Dweebs, you know how you said that you were worried about this being Emperor's New Groove? Yeah, that's kind of what this is partially gonna become. Wait,
Mushu,
Yeah.
okay.
wait,
Mushu
hold
in
on.
this-
Watch and listen.
Yeah, get rid of
Ugh.
him. I never liked him anyway. Yeah, yeah, this movie's looking up already.
That's sexist.
I
kind
guess
of.
that's how ancient Chinese ancestry works.
Well. To be fair, yeah, I guess this fits, regardless of how accurate it is. Ancient Chinese culture was very sexist in this regard, anyway. So yeah,
Well,
that-
that was kind of the point of the first movie too.
Yeah.
So,
so yeah.
Which is weird because the actual Fa Mulan managed to do this without being at risk of being killed.
So he's not fired, he's just suspended more, really, isn't he?
Basically, Jibs, once Mulan marries, essentially
he's
the
been
family.
demoted, is what's happened.
He's back to being the bongo mascot instead of being an
Gum.
actual proper guardian.
Okay, so
Now, I'll-
so he's suspendy fired. So does that mean we don't have?
No, like I
he's-
just say, he's been demoted.
Okay.
Does that mean he stops interrupting the film now?
Okay. I'll just put it like
No.
this. I liked Mushi in the original film. He was a stand-up guy who, while being a bit annoying, legit did actually want to do right and just reclaim his honor in a sense. So you know what? I'll admit I felt sorry for him when he lost his job here. Well, lucky me, they replaced him with a complete dick, as you'll see later on, so I will no longer feel sorry for him. You'll see.
Okay.
Basically,
Aside from that, here's another primary main conflict. Apparently, Shang and Mulan have quite different opinions on quite a lot of topics. Like, for example, they can't decide how many kids they want to have or what colors they're gonna have in the wedding. But we'll get back to this.
So they're a typical married couple then.
nobody
yeah.
is the same.
Let's just say this movie is going to try to approach the topic of men and women or married couples in general having to overcome their differences, but it's going to do it badly. Anyway, Mushu.
Okay.
I don't know. Ask the writers.
See? Okay, that's good, Mushu. Now actually stick to that.
I'm gonna check the IMDb page actually of the writers. Trees, because
Remember, this is an old Asian guy, so he always speaks in philosophical poems.
sure.
As far as morals go, that one's nice and clear. Yin and
Alright.
yang.
One of them was a writer on Shrek and was a producer of Phil of the Future.
Oh, I
That
like that
explains a
movie and
lot.
I like that show.
Another one.
Oh, sorry.
Another one wrote basically a bunch of shorts and was an uncredited writer on such classics as Home on the Range and Lilo and
Oh, that
Weird,
explains a
br-
lot.
Brilliant.
and he was also a writer on Kronk's New Groove
Oh, I like Kronk's New Groove, but
and was a
yeah.
co-writer of Spirits, the movie.
Huh.
As for Disney Toon Devs, honestly, Disney TV animation taking over that, it's for the better anyway, since they're making better shows now anyway.
Okay, in regards to Emperor's New Groove, Mushu has convinced himself that it's for the best of Mulan to get his pedestal back. So
I'll
what is
just call
this?
him
So what's his plot of the movie gonna be? He's gonna try and split Mulan and Shang up.
Great.
I'm just gonna call him
Anyway,
Kushu because he's basically Cusco, but
Yeah, Cusco,
but a dragon and not funny.
Anyway, on hearing that line about the lesson of yin and yang and seeing, the disagreements between Mulan and Shang, the song at the beginning actually did set all this up, because not necessarily teaching the children, but that entire song was actually about that lesson.
True. Okay, fair point. I guess it's technically not that much. Well, it is technically a filler song, but I guess it does tie into the main plot. Okay, fair enough.
It does beg the question, though.
That doesn't make the song any, that doesn't make the song great, but it means like it wasn't as pointless as we initially thought it was.
It does beg the question, though. If we already had Mulan's dad explaining the balance thing to us, why did we need the song?
The song
good.
came first.
Because it's a Disney movie.
Well,
The song
once-
came first, remember?
So once
Oh,
again,
yeah, that's right, everybody. They didn't get Eddie Murphy, but we got Pat Morita back. So there's that.
who's she play?
Maybe
Pat
Freddie
Morita, the Emperor.
met Eddie
You
Murphy
might know him better as Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's right.
He played the Emperor in the first film, and he's back reprising his role. Not that he has much to do in this film, but at least they brought. I mean, personally, I would prefer if they brought back Eddie Murphy instead of Pat Morita, because the voice of the Emperor can be done by various different actors. It's not exactly essential to get Pat Morita back. Eddie Murphy, on the other hand, I would think that's a much better priority.
I
But-
wonder if Eddie Murphy looked at the script and saw what they were going to do with Mushi and said, "Yeah, nope."
well, then
Jova-
again, Jova.
He said-
Ms.
That's
Then
the
again,
thing, Jova. I would agree, Jova, but he's the same guy who said yes to films like Pluto Nash and A Thousand Words.
Well, to be fair with Pluto Nash, I think the script read out a lot better, and there's a lot of talk with development problems with that film, to the point where he couldn't back out.
Hold
even
on,
when he
Java.
wanted
This
to.
is important. This is important. Basically, he's going to, in order to create an alliance so that to stop the war, he's going to marry his 3 daughters with the princes of the neighboring kingdom. And Mulan is all like, "What? An arranged marriage?" And she gets all, okay. This is my first big problem with this movie. The writers seem to not understand the context of the setting they're writing for.
Yeah.
Okay,
She
we're
should
in
know
a-
about this.
We're in ancient China. Arranged marriages were basically the de facto thing at the time in China. So for Mulan to, okay, I can understand. Okay, obviously it makes sense for Mulan to be against arranged marriages because it's Mulan we're talking about here. But the fact that she's even surprised. The fact that she's even surprised. Oh, look at that! The marriage maker from the first movie.
Oh, the Golden Dragon of Unity. Remember that for later.
Yeah, remember
Wow.
that for later.
And I mean way later.
It doesn't make any sense for Mulan to be like, "What? An arranged marriage? What is this buffoonery?" Mulan, you grew up in this country. You should be familiar with the culture. Hell, remember, we literally started the first movie with her being prepared to be in an arranged marriage. Remember? That was kind of the whole point of the first song.
She was never all that into it.
No,
really.
Shiroi. That's not what I'm saying. Of course she's not into it. We know that.
Oh,
but
wait, hold
my
on,
problem-
guys. We're
Hang on,
about...
let me-
Okay, a song about why we can't get girls.
This is kind of a pseudo remake song. As you may recall from the first movie, there was a girl worth fighting for. This is like that song, only less
Different lyrics.
fun.
They
Yeah,
changed
that
the lyrics
too.
somewhat, but it's the same melody. That's pretty lazy.
No,
But
Pedro,
anyway,
Pedro. It's
no,
literally the same chorus, too. A girl worth fighting for.
Shiroi, I've already specified. Of course she's not into it. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that she's surprised that this is even happening at all, the arranged marriage thing. And she shouldn't be, because she's perfectly aware of the fact that in China there's
Okay,
arranged marriages.
I misunderstood. Sorry.
Like Shiroi, that's like if someone started doing some kind of Welsh tradition and you were like, "Wait, this is a thing?" Well, you should know it's a thing. You're Welsh.
Yeah. I
So
mean, she can
basic-
still be like, I don't know then, like, maybe she is like, is her surprise because, of her beliefs, or is she surprised that this is happening? I'm
So
not.
it's-
I'm a little confused.
No,
So-
she's surprised because it's even an arranged marriage, Your Highness. Well, it has to be because, remember, Shiroi, arranged marriages in ancient China were done between princes and princesses all the time. This is part of the culture.
Well, they're still practicing different cultures to this day.
Obviously,
so
Mulan.
it's like-
Obviously, Mulan is against this, as we know. But that doesn't change the fact that she shouldn't be all that surprised by this.
So,
I
can I
guess.
just point out an issue over here? Shang, I
Go
get
ahead.
that these three guys have proved themselves well, but wouldn't it still make sense to bring an entire armed escort considering how long the journey is?
Well, okay.
I
To be
think
fair,
that-
Jova. To be fair, Jova, they did. I think they explained it earlier.
I
They
was
want
about to say. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
they
Well,
want to have a smaller group so that they won't be to
They're
not
a bit
arouse
more-
suspicions.
yeah,
Yeah.
here's the problem. We see later in the film that that's bunk anyway, and it wouldn't hurt to maybe still bring maybe more than just three. Like, I've heard of small groups. but
Jova,
still.
I want to point this out. In a moment now. No, this is not
Okay.
This is not Cinderella. Stop it. Anyway, hold on.
May I please have my stew back?
Hey, better hope it's not in the
Ah.
Maying area. Otherwise, it's in that time.
Gee, I wondered if there's going to be some kind of subplot where the three princesses fall in love with our three main
Wait,
our three comic relief characters.
Wait, Paige. That's what you wanted to complain about? As if that wasn't as obvious as a neon sign saying, "Please marry." See, these guys know how it is with China.
Okay, and here's the first thing where I genuinely start disliking Mulan as a character in this movie. It's right now, I think. Just listen here. Yes, just like it's usual in China. Yep. Mulan, you know how arranged marriages work. You
Okay.
would- Well,
No,
Now you do.
she's aware of this here because I can hear the basic sarcasm in her voice.
Yeah.
Even though you were going to go through one at the beginning with the first film.
Wait.
But-
She was?
Remember, Joe, we've already
Yeah,
explained
she
this.
went to the matchmaking thing, remember?
Yeah.
The whole
However,
point-
let me finish. Yeah, but remember, she didn't know that was gonna be arranged or whatnot. She just thought that was gonna be the way to find a certain husband or whatnot. And okay, before you guys think it, no, I'm not saying that to defend the film or anything. It's like, I still recognize that this is incredibly stupid, even in the context. Like, here's my issue here. Okay. Even if we pretend, for the sake of argument, that in this version of Disneyfied China, that arranged marriages aren't the norm, okay, let's ignore that. Mulan, this is being done for the betterment of China, and to,
Yeah.
save China. Now, granted, anyone who's studied history knows that China's kind of going to be boned when the Mongolians come through, because, yeah, the Mongolians ended up winning the war, and I get the feeling that they knew that themselves too, going off at the ending of this movie, not that that's an excuse. But my
here you
point
go.
is this.
This conversation is really important, but go ahead, finish quickly.
Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Arranged marriage sucks, but when it's done to save
Yeah.
a lot of people, I'm sorry, even I would have to understand that.
Oh, here you go. I hate this lineup coming now. Ugh.
To my heart.
Shang's got a point, Mulan. I mean, you go.
Hold on, listen. Oh my god, someone reasonable!
True.
That's the thing.
Thank you. Okay.
The short end. Of the
Oh yeah,
stick in
Shang is
a lot of
definitely the
groups.
best character in this movie. Make no
That's
mistake.
just the thing, Jova. Remember, in the first movie, it was the other way around. It was Mulan who was always the reasonable one, and Shang was the more hot-headed, not thinking things through type of guy.
Okay, you know what?
They reversed the characterizations.
Okay.
somehow.
To be fair, it's an interesting thing, seeing Mulan not being the reasonable one, because, just because someone is reasonable in some category doesn't mean they're going to be reasonable in all categories. So it's an interesting turn of events. It would be neat if Mulan ended up having to learn a lesson for this. She does not, though.
We'll
I would
get
also
to it.
like to point out that
Oh, look at that! Look at that, guys. He put her shoe in his, and that automatically means he's in love with her. Because proving, of course, that people don't need to have relationships as long as they both look somewhat nice looking.
I guess
True
that's
love
classic
will win.
Disney.
I guess to be fair, it's more of a crush than anything rather than that. But anyway, you were saying, Shirai?
Yeah, I mean, okay, despite, Mulan's, understandable objections to all this, like, even the girls themselves aren't happy about it, but they're doing it purely for their country. They've decided themselves to do this for the betterment
Who was
of
another
their
woman?
nation.
Let's see, who was another person who went against the norms in order to do her duty? Okay, granted, to be fair, that was technically just to fill in for her father not to go to war. But even still, I mean, Mulan.
Yeah, her father would have died if he had gone to war, so there was a slightly different circumstance.
But that's the thing,
Not to-
though. Someone doing something to save other people, which is technically what they're doing. You'd think Mulan would get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, if Mulan actually had an address for what to do if, the arranged marriage wasn't to come, then I'd be on her side. But no, she's more like, oh, you should just do what you love and all that. Never mind the fact that people will die if we don't do this arranged marriage.
So basically, so far the plots are the dragon trying to stop a marriage going on, Mulan herself having to contend with
Arranged
with
marriage.
arranged
Beauty of her
marriages
heart, Dwebs.
of both herself and three random ladies,
What a
as well
shock.
as the comic relief falling in love with aforementioned three ladies. What was there another one?
Oh, don't worry, there'll be more to come later. But basically, though, what's I about to say?
I will give it credit. Even though they're clearly made to, well, actually no, it's more so the taller one that's more made to mimic the taller comic relief character. But I do like the character designs of the princesses. At least they look fine. Again, the only department that succeeded here was the art department. They were the only ones who genuinely were, doing their job properly.
And I'll give them this.
They have a shit script to work with, but they're doing their best.
The characters of the princesses are fine enough, although, gee, what a shock. They weren't exactly reproduced for the Disney princess canon, now were they? Even though they're the actual princesses, go figure.
Funny enough, do you hear that upcoming live-action remake of Mulan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They changed Li Shang's name in that upcoming film to Chen Honghui.
Huh.
Well,
Weird.
well, as long as it's still a Chinese name, I don't really care.
It's still Chinese. It's just
It is
it's
a
just-
weird change.
Aren't there going to be witches, or is that just a rumor?
I don't know. I mean, hey, they're taking out certain songs. Wouldn't surprise me.
They're
Whatever,
taking out Make a Man Out of You, and I'm livid.
I know, right? Anyway.
well, the score itself's been done by Harry Gregson Williams, so
Yay.
I don't know who
I'm
that
sure the
is.
score will be wonderful. It's just, why did you remove that?
Harry Gregson Williams was the prominent composer for the Metal Gear series.
Ah,
Anyway.
nice. Well, at least the
Oh.
score will be good. Soundtrack, we'll see. True that.
All right, I love this one here. Your heart. Well, yeah, this movie really loves the whole heart thing.
Be
Yeah,
true
that's
to
the-
yourself.
this should have been a better. This they probably should have had a different subtitle: Mulan 2: The Way of the Heart, or something.
That honestly, Dibs, that's basically a much better subtitle than the whole final war thing that I found here.
Again.
Here's the moral according to Mulan. Your duty is to your heart. You see, Dwebs, I know that you're supposed to do the dishes, but your duty is to your heart. So, what do you want to do according to your heart? Do you want to do the dishes?
No, I do not.
Put them in the dishwasher, so I don't have to do it.
I'm sorry, Mom. I know I should go to school, but my duty is to my heart.
There isn't a single person who likes doing the dishes.
I don't know. You'd be surprised, sure. There are some people who
Well-
actually do.
Well, Siri, a guy made a song about cleaning
I
windows.
really don't like how this movie in a lot of ways also makes Shang look like a buffoon.
Okay, Pedro. To be fair, it's not so much him looking like a buffoon; it's just Mushu messing with him. If anything, he's more.
Mushu is
I guess,
the
sure.
worst thing about this movie.
Oh, let me guess. His Mushu's attempts to break them up actually bring
Aw.
them closer together.
Yes.
Lol.
So he's not only is a complete shit, but he's an incompetent complete shit because everything he's doing just has the opposite effect.
Don't you just love that? Don't you?
Again, why
you know,
did you
Red
need to
Dwarf
screw
did
with
that.
Mushu?
You know, Red Dwarf does this kind of thing better.
Yeah, that's another thing. The original Mulan was a very down-to-earth movie that didn't. Yes, there were more slapsticky hijinks sometimes, but usually they were kept to the comic relief characters. And here, I mean, the whole slapstick thing with Shang here is a bit too overdone.
Okay. Yeah, it is weird, admittedly. Again, I wouldn't mind it if it were just under better circumstances. My main problem are the circumstances. Karma. Okay, this joke's kinda funny what's about to come up. Well, you asked for it. Also, you deserve that.
That's the reaction of the Mulan fan base when watching this movie. Great spirits, take me now. We'll save the power of cartoony hijinks.
Hey, you know what this movie's actually been...
Okay, and suddenly we're in the end of the afternoon. Like there was not even a proper transition between whatever.
You know, I just realized something that's been missing, guys.
Did Ed Wood direct this?
You know what's been missing in this movie? That's a sequel to Mulan.
Oh God, Nightmare Fuel!
Fighting?
Jesus Christ!
Fighting?
Yeah, you know, stuff like fighting, action, like, you know, I just realized we finally got an action scene, and we're a half an hour, actually no, we're 35 minutes into this movie.
Yeah, that's a fan job, but this movie's basically a road trip movie.
It's a road trip rom-com, essentially, is what it is.
Oh, funnily enough, when the trailers for the 2013 Blu-ray releases of both this film and the original came out, when they released the trailer, there were no clips from this movie.
Yeah, Mushu is an absolute asshole in this
Lol.
movie.
They ruined Mushu. Quite possibly my favorite character from the original.
Oh, you know the reason
Is
why?
that well, go ahead, Whips.
Apparently, the reason why Eddie Murphy, it was a case of couldn't reprise the role, was because there was a clause in his contract for Shrek 2.
Ah, that would explain it. That ended up saving him. Go figure. Let's see. Let's see. The year
That doesn't explain Kingdom Hearts 2, then.
clause would also apply to video games, likely.
Maybe that's part of the clause. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, funnily enough...
Oh my God, this scene. I'm sorry, Jove. This is probably the scene that pisses me off the most.
Really? This is the scene that pisses you out the most? I thought it would have been...
It's because of what it does to Mulan's character, but you'll see. There you go. Listen here. Excuse me? I'm with Shang on this one.
What's left of a map?
Ha ha ha.
Uh,
Okay. First of all, this is not funny.
A forest path. It's not a forest path, like a lake path.
Well,
Okay,
technically,
first of
forest.
all, no, Mulan. You can't be sure that the river will lead to a town. Rivers can, yeah, it's but
And now they're actually about to
not every
apologize and make up.
not every river passes through a town, Mulan. You cannot possibly be sure that following the river will lead you to a town.
Well, to be fair, Pedro, this is ancient China, and all towns were kind of built near rivers, to be fair.
I guess, sure.
And
but,
hey, and hey, and hey.
but question though, do they know which direction of the river should they follow?
Oh,
Because it
well,
could be
Mulan's
either way.
Mulan's idea is to find a town and then get another map from there. Anyway,
No,
but
I know that, Jova, but which direction of the river are going to follow in hopes of finding a city?
The one
North
that-
or south?
the one that moves away from the mountains.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That makes sense. Sure. Go ahead.
Anyway, okay, I will say this. If it's any consolation, at least after that fight, they made up. No. See, the part I thought was going to be your least favorite was the second fight.
Well, I hated that fight, but I'll wait for sure to return them before I talk about it. Just so I don't have to repeat myself.
I'm not sure whether that counts as cheating or an even more impressive show of strength.
Let's go with the latter, I guess. Besides, what's there even to cheat about?
Again, isn't it so wonderful how people don't need to have relationships as long as their character designs are similar?
Okay. To be fair, Patrons, they're not immediately falling in love already. They're just trying to build up the relationship.
Okay, Joe, but just calm down, please. You don't need to.
It's a beautiful.
You were saying, Jova?
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
It's a cute crush. Like, that's literally what it is. A crush.
But that's the thing, Jova. A crush in a Disney movie means love. So.
See, I recognize it for what it is. The problem is that the movie then tries to make it out to be something more. Now you're free to complain. Okay, so we're just about half.
Excuse me, honey. You do realize that you're following the duty.
My heart.
Yeah, what Webb said. You realize that means you're condemning China to death and war, right?
We're just gonna gloss over that, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing, Dwibs. These girls are willing to put China in danger of war, all for their quote-unquote duty of the heart, and the movie never actually properly addresses this.
To be fair, it's actually just Mei Ling who's really about... Oh my god, her name's Mei Ling.
Actually, Jova, hold on. I love this one. Listen here. Let's just say they're going to ruin this song.
I was just crying already, and the song's only started for like a minute.
Oh, hold on, just wait for the mood whiplash. Just wait.
That's because this isn't really quite the song, Dwibs.
Just wait, Dwibs. For it.
See, now these two have more common sense on the matter.
Hold on.
Okay, welcome to song. This is song number 3. I want to be like other girls. I like the remix of the song for the music video, but in the context of the story, oh boy, you want to cover this one, Pedro?
Sorry, Dwebs, we just entered into a completely different song.
Basically, this is a song about them wanting to be like other girls.
So,
just to say this, I thought the song was Be Like Other Girls, not I want to be like Miley Cyrus after Disney Channel dropped her.
Can I have whatever drugs the filmmakers were on?
Oh, hey, Shiroi.
Sure, you're just in turn for everyone's favorite song, because this is what other girls do, right?
Don't you just love... Not just that, I love how the song starts off really sad, but then suddenly mood whiplash. But anyway, okay. Shiroi, I have good news.
Wait, hold on, this bit. What?
That
Oh,
They just
metaphor,
like, okay,
that
guys.
metaphor is stupid, and so are you.
All right, guys. Look around the office, and whatever item we find, we put in the song, whether it makes sense or not.
Like, seriously, this song is just, I want to be like other girls. This means that other girls can be free. Yeah, they can be free and they can get arrested for doing some of these stunts. Just gonna say.
Why are they flying? Whatever. Shiroi, I have good news. The good news is that Mulan is not in this film. I don't know who that bitch is, but considering how absolutely goddamn stupid and flat out devoid of having any sort of plan she is about finding the town, she's clearly not Mulan.
Oh,
because
so it's
the
like
real
my
Mulan-
problem with Mushu, and now they replaced him with whoever this dick
exactly.
is.
Oh, I had that same problem too, Joe. I'm just letting you handle Mushu while I handle Mulan. The basic point is
good teamwork.
the basic point is this. Sorry. Remember how back in the first movie, Shang and the Freeman comic reliefs were trying to burst into the palace to save the Emperor by force? And Mulan was the one who had the idea of using a more smarter method of climbing the pillars using that same method she used back in the army.
With her sash,
Basically, Mulan, unlike the hot-headed man, Mulan used her brain to overcome the problem there.
Oh God, this.
He's going this route.
Yep. Okay, Dwibs. Take this. Liar revealed. Hold on, let me finish. Take this. Liar revealed, except it's not really liar revealed, but it's just as cringeworthy.
So not only are they using one of the most cliched, stupid tropes in filmmaking, they don't even do it right.
Also, Shane completely falls for this.
Okay, I will say one thing at the very least. To be fair, Mushu did do a similar thing to the counselor in the first movie, so I don't have a problem with him doing puppetry thing. Oh my god, we're about to see that scene. Hold on, Jova. It's that scene now. It's that shot now.
Oh, it's the scene with the face.
Yes. Why is he covering his mouth?
Yeah, he'll explain why. The puppetry thing I hate, the reason I hate the puppetry in this movie is because it's the reason that Mushu's doing it. Also, yeah, because he doesn't want to peel her paint. Basically, that means he doesn't want to catch her garlic.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, the animators were off. That. I'm stupid.
Don't look at me.
Anyway,
God.
yeah, like I was saying, Jova, can you possibly explain to me where the hell is the Mulan from the first movie? The one who actually used her brain and planned things out? Where is she?
Let's see. She was there for the first song. I guess this Mulan sent her to the Shadow Realm.
Here's what happened. In between that first song and I guess somewhere during the thing. Okay, I get it. Somewhere in the walk towards the palace of the Emperor, Mulan got kidnapped by aliens and replaced with a clone. And this is the one we're stuck with for the rest of the movie.
It must have been the same aliens who kidnapped Mushu.
I should elaborate. I never said I hate the first Mulan film or anything. I just think out of all the Disney Renaissance ones, there are definitely ones I would much rather watch over that one.
Sure.
I have no qualms with that. I mean, that's how I feel about Little Mermaid. I mean, I love the soundtrack, but the story is... Look, I said it before and I'll say it again. I actually feel like Little Mermaid 2 does some of its story details better, despite that movie being kind of a retread of the first one.
The Little Mermaid is much more enjoyable when you realize the fact that the movie is actually about an anthropologist.
But Shiroi, that's for the first half of the movie.
Honestly, Shiroi, when it comes to the Little Mermaid live-action remake, which is done by Alan Menken doing the music and the lyrics, brilliant. Thank you.
Oh wow, yeah. He's been working a lot with Disney though.
Here's what I would do if I was doing the live-action remake of that, Shiroi. Incorporate the opening scene of Little Mermaid 3 into the story. That would make the story so much better, as me and Joe have talked about before.
Hey, you know what else I wonder? I wonder if they're actually going to include some of the details from the Broadway musical that expand on it, that confirm that Ursula is actually King Triton's sister, banished and all that jazz. I wouldn't be
Anyway.
surprised if they do. And hey, we're talking about better things. Let's get back to this movie, I guess. So yeah, Mushu has Mulan absolutely convinced.
So let's recap, everybody. Mushu is not here. Mulan is not here, and they were basically the main duo of the first movie.
Meanwhile, these two alien copies are tormenting Shang and making him go crazy. Oh, and by the way, the princesses have just run off with the men, but just to the fair for some fun. They're not actually running off from their duty. It's just for a night of fun. However, Shang doesn't know that, so Mulan's gonna go and try and deal with it. So she told Mushu...
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
God.
you're clearly not on a short fuse, are you, bitch? I'm serious. I really hate that line. Well, maybe, Shang, we should just forget the map and wing it. Wing it. The real Mulan would never say that.
Well, to be fair, Mulan in the first movie did a lot of winging herself, to be fair. So I can sort of see why she'd argue for that. Okay, Mushu. Now things are gonna get even more awkward. Especially when Shang reads a certain note. Oops.
Who wrote this crap?
Well, that was actually the youngest princess. Of course, who does that really sound like?
Edwebs, that was maybe that was God, I forgot. I get it. I get it. That was what was his name? Eddie Murphy's. Sorry, that was Eddie Murphy's reaction when he was pitched this movie. Maybe my duties to my heart. Well, fuck that.
I guess, but
who wrote this crap?
Yeah, but again, Pluto Dash and 1,000 words, so I can't really sympathize with Eddie Murphy there.
Okay, to be fair, Dweebs, those were two movies, and like I said, look, when an author looks at a script, that doesn't always mean they're going to see what it looks like, because let's not forget, Pluto Nash went through a lot of development trouble, so for all we know, the script he originally saw was good. As for 1,000 words, that was some contract stuff, and, well, he wasn't exactly getting that many roles at the time, and being an actor cannot be a chief lifestyle.
Oh, look, Dwebs, ancient Chinese wrestling, kind of.
So wait, this is early 2005. So
wait, no. This movie was released in 2003.
Four actually, according to my thingy here.
According to my title here, it says that this was released in 2003. Let me check. Mulan II.
It's confusing because it says here that the VHS released in 2005. Like, it's confusing, the release date of this thing. Let me just check the Wikipedia. When did it actually release on
According to the
DVD?
Wikipedia, yeah, okay, that's weird. Okay, so it says 2004 on the website. It says 2003 on the Blu-ray title itself, but on Wikipedia, it has a release date of February 1st, 2005. So I guess that would explain why they consider it.
It also says November 3rd, 2004 premiere. So apparently this did come out in some theaters?
I'm so confused.
Why? Okay, I can understand Bambi 2 coming out in some theaters in Europe, but why this? Mulan 2 is the movie we definitely should put on theaters.
Wait, hold on. On Rotten Tomatoes, it states that it had a worldwide theatrical release in 2003.
I'm sorry, Joe, but apparently the animators had a stroke.
Okay.
Either that or...
Oh, okay. So here's the gist. Apparently, this was released in theaters in January 1st, 2003, wide, and apparently it was available on disc and streaming by February 1st, 2005. God, I'm confused.
Okay, explain something to me. She's a Chinese princess, so she had a refined education and all that stuff. She's been most likely holed up at home, learning to be a wife all her life.
Yeah, that never stifles anyone's sense of humor.
Because that's how Chinese women were raised at the time, you know. So how is she capable of doing stuff that only people who often go out would be like doing those things with the chopsticks on the nose? Like...
Pedro, that's just about how you are anatomically built on whether or not you can do that. I mean, just because she wasn't taught it doesn't mean she didn't teach herself to do it. She's, I guess, one of those hidden bouts of sense of
Lingy
humor.
Bear. Lingy Bear.
Oh God, the stereotypical
Mulan.
girl cry.
Yeah! Yay! China is doomed, Shiro. Isn't it wonderful? It's okay if
Oh.
China is doomed because
It's okay.
true.
They're
It's
all in
okay.
trouble.
Shang's here to put an end to this
Repercussions.
nonsense.
But that's the thing, Jova. This movie portrays Shang as being in the wrong, even though he isn't.
Oh goody, this bit.
You know, I get arranged marriages are a terrible thing, but like Shang is in the right in this instance. I'm sorry.
And I can't believe I'm saying this. Okay, the reason
No,
Mushu woke.
it's like Jova said. This marriage, the future of China depends on this arranged marriage. Sorry, sweeties, but the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Like,
Sorry.
I mean, I'm not even a guy who supports arranged marriages, but this is one of those cases where, I mean, yeah.
It's like I said before, Jova. Remember, this takes place in ancient China. Like it or not, that's how China was back then. It makes sense for this to happen. Okay, besides, this is a work of fiction. Whether or not arranged marriages are a good thing is irrelevant to the context of this story. Because remember, we're living in a setting where arranged marriages are part of the culture. They're just viewed as just a perfectly normal thing. So whether or not arranged marriages are wrong in our eyes, the viewers, it's irrelevant for this movie.
Yeah, he's right. The problem is you.
Thank you. You see, this is where you realize that this entire movie fails and completely falls flat on its ass. We're supposed to side with Mulan, even though any person with any amount of common sense would side with Shang on this situation.
yeah.
It's
Okay, look. Mulan has the same mindset that she did in the first film. Here's the...
Trust your heart.
Okay. Look. See, okay, look. The reason this mentality worked for Mulan in the first movie was because it was to save her father, but it wasn't like her being in the army was really affecting the army's chances of winning. Well, I mean, okay, yeah, she helped them win, obviously, but, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, you know, her taking her father's place in the army was putting her whole country at risk or whatnot. So, you know, that was fine enough. Oh, hey, look! Cue for the depressing thunderstorm.
But guys, Shang doesn't have a heart, even though he was completing the mission that's supposed to.
Shang is
just-
totally the
you
one
know-
wrong here.
You know,
Just
okay,
because a movie-
wait, hold on, I have to say this. You know, for reference sake, Shang lost his father in the first movie, and he handled things as diligently and, you know, competently as possible, which he's kind of doing the same thing here, trying to save China. Like, again...
But he's wrong.
Okay, look. I would appreciate this if, you know, it's... What?
Wait, who are you saying that it's wrong, Dibs?
Is being sarcastic.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
I'm trying to
okay.
follow the movie's logic. It's not working, but I'm trying.
You know, Dibs. You have to at the very least admit, at least the first movie was trying to have some kind of dignity.
I don't think
Jesus.
Gibbs is comparing this to that, thank God.
Well, I'm just saying.
True.
Moving on.
You know, you just accomplished your goal and you're talking about whatever the fuck Snapdragons.
So let me
I
get. So
guess-
basically, the Mushu subplot was just a waste of our time. Nice to know.
Well, no, I mean, to be fair, the Mushu subplot is the reason Mulan and Shang had the sight because Mushu blew the whistle on her.
Broken?
Oh,
Broken?
God.
It wasn't. Ugh.
It was going just fine. The only reason it was getting fucked up
Jova.
was because of
You were the problem, Mulan.
was because of your stupid, misguided sense of love
Yeah.
Whoops.
and Eddie Murphy.
Hold on, guys.
Not,
Let Dwibs
not
finish.
Eddie, not Eddie Murphy. Sorry.
Dwibs, congratulations! You've just figured out why me, Jova, and Shiro hate this movie. Good job.
That's not even the biggest reason, but yeah,
Well,
it's
you
a good
can't-
reason.
Well. Okay. For his purposes, it works.
True,
We'll
yeah.
go on this.
Well, that's the thing, though, Pedro. I mean, you can not be a fan of the previous thing and still hate the sequel.
Well, nobody's saying otherwise, Dwibs. I'm not even mentioning the first movie. We're just talking about this one.
Yeah, in fact, it's a thing that's been it's a misconception in general, really. When people, sometimes stuff happens like it's gonna happen. Sometimes You might
No, I
not
see what you
like the
mean.
previous thing, but then hate the other thing more because, well, it's just crap.
Well, obviously,
Kind of lost
just
what you were saying there, but I'm
whatever. The opposite. I can see what Dwebs means anyway. No, I understand what you mean, Dwebs. I don't like the first Lion King, but I actually kind of enjoy the second one and the third one.
Anyway.
Honestly.
Where'd you get that from?
Remember, her father gave it to her.
No.
I mean,
He was talking about the
meant-
pick-me-up meal.
Oh,
Basically,
because
Dweb.
because
Basically,
it's funny.
Dweb.
Because it's China. Get it?
Basically, Dwebs. That is the magic of modern techniques. What are modern
You
techniques?
feel guilty now, don't you, asshole?
You know the sad thing is that what Mushu did was technically wrong, but when you get down to it, him waking Shang up is what prevented them from gallivanting off with their lovers or whatnot. No, Mushu, you're terrible, but I wouldn't say you're really all that's wrong with
It
them.
wasn't. It was both of you. Like.
Oh, goody! Liar revealed, my favorite.
It's not even just that. Like in order for the only reason this plot even is happening is because these two characters have been completely destroyed from what they were in the first film.
Okay. I wouldn't say the problem with Mulan has necessarily been that she's destroyed. I think it's the problem that she hasn't changed a bit from the first one. I mean, technically, she's got the same mentality, personal stuff before certain stuff. Again, like I said before, the reason her mentality worked in the first movie was because it didn't put her entire country at risk. Here, it is, but she just refuses to change. That's, like, the major issue here.
So he betrayed you, and why not? He betrayed your friendship and everything. Why not just tell him to piss off?
Well, it's not like she's gonna throw him off with no chance of catching up.
He committed the ultimate act of betrayal. He broke him up for completely selfish reasons. If a friend did that to me, I'd tell him to piss off.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Any
after
reasonable person would tell them to piss off.
Oh, absolutely. But wait till the journey's over. Don't just leave them stranded. That's kind of.
Yeah, don't worry, Dwebs. He'll get his punishment when you get back to the village.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hey, an action fight scene. Haven't had one of those in a while. Again, that's something that a sequel to Mulan is really lacking. Oops.
Yes, let's change them over a bridge. That's wise.
Well, they were taking the princess. Not like they had much of a choice. Uh-oh. Prepare to meet Kali in hell.
But that. Well, sorry to leave you hanging.
Oh. Shouldn't the thing have broken by now? Oh, sorry, am I supposed to be concerned?
And he's dead.
No! He was the best character in this movie!
You didn't deserve this.
He was Shang was the. There you go. The only person who actually had a brain in this movie is now dead. Good job.
Again, it's wrong and everything, but for the sake of the movie, this shit needs to be done. Seriously.
I mean, look, even
this was I think this is what Pedro was getting at the beginning. This is the wrong plot to do with this kind of character, and I'm referring to Mulan.
Well, Mushu, I hope you're happy now. Your selfish actions have got Mulan's loved one killed.
Well, technically that was the bandits that got him killed, but I see what you mean.
Well, if he hadn't broken them up, then
that's just the thing, Shiroi. I'm honestly convinced that the people who wrote this movie have never even seen the first one.
I don't know. I mean, this scene feels like something that could have been in the first one.
Too little, too late by this point, Joe.
Oh, absolutely. Too little, too late. Well, the bridge is out.
That rainwater dried up fast.
That was
Yeah,
a
no-
very quick transition.
Yeah, not just that. Like as Dwebs and Shiroi just pointed out, it was the pacing of that moment. Jova was way off.
Oh,
Too fast.
okay, so now the princesses are actually going to marry. What?
And now all of a sudden she's
Hey,
Oh, what
you're
was that?
finally
What was your
starting to
point?
grow up.
So there you go, Dwebs. She's gonna marry the prince of the other kingdom. I forgot the name. Instead.
Qingong.
the other
That's-
prince.
Oh hi, generic Disney horse.
No. That's Shang's horse.
I know.
Uh,
it's just that he just looks like every other 2D animated horse from Disney
Horsey,
movies.
the set full home on the ranges.
No,
Well, that didn't take long for that death to be
No.
completely meaningless.
no movie.
Are you
No.
honestly surprised?
fell-
Would not
he
have
fell
survived that
100
Hey,
feet.
okay. Dwebs, Pedro, there's a TV trope called Disney Death for a reason. Heck, even Disney villain death, but specifically Disney death. Do you really think they were gonna kill him off?
I know.
Well-
It's just, couldn't you at the very least show him falling so we can actually have? Okay,
We
I
did
guess you
see
can
him
argue. Okay, I guess we can argue. Okay, fine. I'll give the same argument I gave in Miracle Mask and in Ace Attorney 3. Maybe you can argue that he fell on his feet in the water, and as a result, he didn't.
You actually
he
can
survive.
fall that bout of distance and come out admittedly battered, or just with a cold
So
in
Mulan
Phoenix's
is
case.
sacrificing herself.
Is that the same guy from the first movie just now over here, or is that just an animation gag?
I don't even.
An
No.
animation gag, most likely, because
It's
that guy
most-
was much older.
Yeah, it's basically the whole. It's basically reusing the exact same trope, Jova, but at the same time not the same character. He's basically a rehash of the previous movie's counselor, basically.
But now Mulan's actually going to.
Even though this was not all what I arranged with the other emperor, I'm still going to go along with this.
Okay, to be fair, like his advisor did say, Fa Mulan is the flipping hero of China, so
And
that's
of
considered
course-
a good deal.
And of course, the prince is a complete nerdy buffoon who can't tie his own shoes because funny.
Also, that is totally That's totally the hill from Emperor's New Groove.
But yeah, like I was saying, I am genuinely convinced that the people who wrote this movie, haven't actually seen the first one because they completely missed the whole point of it.
How are
and
you alive?
He just is.
I'm a
Shiro.
Disney protagonist. Do you really think we die that easily?
Oh, look at that! Unfortunately, Shiroi, apparently he fell on his head because now he suddenly agrees with Mulan on the whole thing. So there you go.
Oh, wait.
We've lost him, Shiroi.
Wait.
We've lost him.
No, wait, hold on,
okay,
guys.
To be fair, I guess him having, basically a Nia should have been death experience.
Okay. I want you to remember
has
that.
kind of altered his perspective.
Okay, apparently the comedy relief and the love interests are coming to help. I want you to remember that line and see what they actually do to help out in the finale.
But here's the thing, Shiroi.
Oh,
Okay,
Mushu, you're finally back now?
Too late at this point.
Huh, so let me get this straight. So we lost Shang, but we got Mushu back.
See, here's my problem though, Shiroi. Okay, so he's going into the marriage to stop the marriage. Okay, but what is his long-term plan then? Because somebody has to do the fucking marriage. Because remember,
I know.
the whole point of this whole thing is that we need an arranged marriage so we can unite the two kingdoms, so that we can ally ourselves and make sure the Mongolians don't attack and all that shit.
Well, Shang agreed with that. He just didn't want it to be his future wife.
Oh, I can't wait for the end, guys, because eventually the reason for the original subtitle is going to come into play big time.
Could you imagine if the live-action remake incorporated bits of this film?
No. This movie should burn and die and only be remembered as a terrible sequel.
Like, it really is one of the absolute worst. Like, if you just look at it on the surface level, it doesn't seem that bad, but when you study it, it's bad.
I don't even need to study it, honestly, Joe. Even on the surface level, this film's just boring.
Oh yeah, I mean, at best it's boring. At worst, it's offensive. Well, borderline offensive. No. It's offensive to
Fucking-
those who preferred the
fucking-
characters in the original.
Not just that, Jova. Even on its own merits, let's pretend for a moment that this is an original film.
Shouldn't
For the
it be
sake of
sake
argument.
that they're drinking, not water?
Sorry, Jova, but we have to make this family friendly.
This
Anyway,
is size is China, not Japan.
anyway,
Oh, speaking of a gag from the first movie. Oh, not yet. Sorry, never mind.
okay, not just that, Jova. Let's pretend for a moment that this is an original film. Even on its own, it's just terrible and completely stupid.
Oh, absolutely. However, what makes it even worse is that it's a sequel to one of the most renowned and most, gender neutral. Okay, maybe gender neutral is not a good term, but it's a sequel to one of the most renowned Disney Renaissance films that had a strong female protagonist, without having to shout it from the hilltops and yonder.
Or make her a complete bitch.
Like she is in this movie.
Well, yeah, because that's the problem with quite a lot of quote unquote strong female characters.
Okay, guys, it's time for that golden dragon.
This is what I was talking about.
In that a lot of them are not very likable.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the problem, Shiro.
Hold on. So you remember the golden dragon of Unity mentioned way early into the film? Yeah, that's about to come back now.
But that's just the thing, Shiro. Shang wasn't counting on Mushu doing anything. So what exactly was his long-term plan here?
Oh, he doesn't care.
He was just going to crash the wedding. He didn't have a long-term plan.
Well, then he's a dumbass. So yeah, like I said, we lost him. We lost Shang as well. We've lost everything, Jova. Mushu is no longer
Hey,
Mushu.
look, guys!
Shang is no longer Shang.
Hey, hold on.
Actually, this is something Mushu would do.
Yeah, true. Again, this is actually like classic Mushu. Also, the comedy relief and the love interest? Yeah, they're here now. They did jack squat to help Shang as he was being seized. Help my rear end. Again, Mushu's actually the one who ends up solving this all. Problem is, yeah, China's screwed.
Not just that. We'll get to it. Hold on. Okay, Dweb. So basically, here Mushu solves everything by basically dictating, I am the secret god dragon, and I dictate it
Golden
from now
Dragon of
on.
Unity.
And from now on, whatever. It doesn't matter. From now on, Dwebs, every woman in China can marry whoever they love instead of arranged marriages. Arranged marriages are bad.
And thus we found out why ancient China was fucked.
So here's my question, Mushu. You're the Golden Dragon of Unity. Couldn't you dictate that this empire unite with whatever empire in China?
Actually, I think he's about to do that. Actually,
No, he doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't.
Nope, that's it.
Oh, never mind. He doesn't. Oh,
So
yeah,
China is screwed.
You know what this means, right, Wibs? This means that this kingdom and Mulan's kingdom never actually make themselves allies, meaning the Mongolians will be able to basically destroy China because, China doesn't have enough manpower to fight the Mongolians.
Okay.
That was established.
Yeah.
So basically, China is doomed. We're all dead.
Okay.
Hence why I said earlier, this is why ancient China was fucked.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, anyone who studied history does know that China actually does fall to the Mongolians. Now, here's where I bring up the original subtitle for this. Hold on.
Yeah, but is this really a good reason for that, though?
Hold on. I should probably bring this up. See, the original subtitle, this was Mulan, the Final War, essentially. Basically, for those who don't know, originally there was actually going to be a sequel where the consequences of this were actually played up upon and fully addressed. Of course, we all know that sequel got cancelled. So that's why they changed the subtitle of this. Basically, originally they were planning to actually address a lot of this in the sequel, for better or for worse.
But the sequel never happened.
That's why this was called The Final War initially, for a cancelled sequel. So when that got canned, so went the subtitle. It's what it was originally called upon its original release, but now it's just Mulan 2. Mm-hmm. On the plus side, at least Mushu's better, but too little too late. Oh well.
It's like he's got a split personality, an absolute dickhead, or a slightly
this
less
can't Eddie
absolute
Murphy.
dickhead.
This can't Eddie Murphy. But that's the thing, Dwebs. Believe it or not, they're about to render his entire subplot pointless. There you go.
You could lie to him. He deserves that.
Honestly, sure, even if he lied, it wouldn't really do any good.
So there you go, Dwebs. Turns out Mushu losing his pedestal was never even a danger, which means his entire subplot was just a waste of our time for conflict.
Okay, to be fair, the only reason Shang does this is because Mulan tells him about Mushu, and I have no idea whether or not she was actually going to mention him regardless of this problem, so for all we know, the only reason this happened was because Mushu got involved. Not that that makes it a good subplot. Oh, yeah.
Everything you did to break them up and everything.
Everything.
Including the fish trick and the explosion.
So, I have a question. Are we going to address the fact that China is doomed? And we're all gonna die?
Maybe that's why there isn't a sequel.
Oh, no. You see.
Okay.
The moral here is, it's okay for all of us to die as long as we die married.
Okay, again, they were actually going to address this in the sequel. Sequel got canned. Also, notice how the last we ever saw of the love interest and their princesses was that last scene? Yeah, we don't see them ever again now in this movie. They didn't help out at all in the end.
There you go. So the moral is here, follow your heart, even if it kills everybody.
China's doomed.
But it's okay, because we got a wedding! I hate this movie. Oh, wait. I will admit, though, I do like this remix of I Want to Be Like Other Girls because I like the music and the melody.
You know what's the interesting thing?
And hey, the lyrics actually make more sense with the remix, go figure.
I just don't get it though, Jova. One of the directors that we just saw there was Daryl Rooney, who was also the director of Lion King 2, which was a much better sequel than this one.
God, what happened?
What the hell? I don't know. Sandra Oh was in this movie?
Oh, even Lucy Liu, too. George
Takei? So you bothered to get June 4? Oh, well, yeah, June 4. So you bothered to get George Takei and Sandra Oh, but you don't get any... Well, then, yeah, contract effort.
Honestly, it's not like he was missing out on much with this sequel.
No.
But yeah, I would have preferred Eddie Murphy. At least he would have entertained me better.
So yeah, that was completely rancid and a complete insult to mankind. Shiroi, why don't you start?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, and this was animated in Japan apparently, according to what these credits.
With that Japanese feel.
Yeah, that's a good lead-in because yes, the animation, as you guys have already said, is still very good for, well, it wasn't direct to video as we've discovered.
Well, here's the thing, Shiroi. Even though it did premiere in some theaters, the budget itself was still a direct-to-video type budget.
They still kept the they still kept the look of the characters and the general mood of the art style.
For the most part, let's not forget certain moments.
I know, but for the most part, it was actually nicely animated.
And that's where the positives end.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the score, but I can't really hear a lot of it. And I don't mean the musical numbers. I mean the actual
orchestral score.
Orchestral scores, yeah.
Yeah.
Shang again got the short end of the stick. He was the only one in the right, despite again arranged marriages generally being a very shit thing. It was for the good of the country. The princesses were willing to do it. Mulan got in the way of it, and so did Mushu to an extent, but more indirectly. And yeah, I didn't like how he was painted to be the bad guy because, he himself said, he himself isn't, too happy about it because he said to Mulan, not everyone can be as lucky as we are. He knows that this isn't a good thing, but he knows why it needs to be done. So for the movie to paint him as basically the antagonist of sorts is just very bothersome, I guess. Mulan is the worst because, she's very, very different, than she was in the first movie. like her reason for breaking the rules was very different. In the first movie, she basically didn't want her father to die, and in this one, she was just breaking rules to the detriment of an entire nation. 2 nations, actually.
But Shiroi, my duty is to my heart.
No, it's not. No, it's not, child. Like, seriously. And Mushu was, he only made things worse again. I think his involvement in the mess was more secondary and sometimes indirectly. And he didn't really get a comeuppance, honestly. He kind of did, but then the end of the movie was like, oh no, he gets his position back, so it's like...
Well, sure, that's
so
because
he's
he
really...
allowed Shang and Mulan to get married after all. So, oh my god. You realize that this means that Mushu is technically the one who saved the day, plot-wise.
Well, yeah, in an incredibly contrived and stupid way. And no, he didn't save anything, Joe, because we're all gonna die.
But
So,
Pedro,
no,
he
didn't
allowed
save-
every...
Because he didn't unite, he didn't, Dragon of Unity. Maybe I should use that to unite the nations.
I
no,
was
but
so...
I'm just gonna unite my friends.
even
Unite-
as
unite-
even as a
united
kid,
we
that
stand?
baffles me.
United we stand as one single land? No?
Divided we fall.
Oh, hey, the United Kingdom had a hand in this.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, that's what.
Oh,
that's
nice.
what. That's what we need. We need to get Evan Tilderman here. Have Lofty turn into his dragon form, and he can be the Dragon of Unity. That's basically what he is, being the Kingmaker of Evermore.
Jova. UK history isn't so much about unity as it is of divide and
Exiting.
conquer. So our history is a bit more, askew. But
I can
That's why.
see that.
That's why Brits play villains. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, yes. The princesses were fine. Again, like, they have nice designs. They didn't really have much in terms of... Well, they did have personalities and such, but they were more plot devices than fully fleshed out characters,
Remember, we don't even really see them at the end of the movie.
No. The 3 guards... Yeah, we never really get to see how they're doing with the 3 guards.
They're happy, Shira, because they're following their hearts.
I'm guessing this is the kind of stuff that was going to be in that other sequel, possibly. Still, though, that never happened, so I just have to look at the
Gee, I wonder why.
But yeah, they were the same as they were in the first movie, I guess. No different there. And I mean, yeah, like, Mushu's way of dealing with all this was very contrived. It was still a very Mushu way to do it. So he was at least in character. But again, he's just doomed China. And just everything around it because he didn't unite the nation. He only cares about shipping and nothing else.
So basically, at the end of the day, Chip has got the country destroyed.
So
I
basically,
really don't like this movie.
I just realized this, Shiroi. That's what's the problem is. This movie was written by your typical internet shipper, who was only interested in shipping people.
Yes, I mean, it is as contrived as can be, so that works. But, yeah, Shang is easily the best character. Everything else is that, like, ugh. It's not a great movie at all. I'm done.
All right, me, Jova, answer me this: who thought it was a good idea to go into the internet and use internet fan fiction as a basis for this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I know internet fan fiction
the
was
person who wrote 50 Shades?
true, and he technically
That was
made money.
Twilight fan fiction, kind of.
And he made loads of money off of it.
She.
Wait, I thought that was a guy who wrote that.
No, a woman wrote those books.
Jova,
My
I can assure you.
condolences, Leroy. My condolences.
Jova, have you actually read the book? The book is incredibly misogynist towards men. Like,
You
but
never
anyway.
know. You never.
Not only that, like, you can tell from its target demographic that it was basically written by a middle-aged woman going through a midlife crisis for middle-aged women going through a midlife crisis.
But if our middle-aged women didn't know what fan fiction was.
They do now.
They do now, Jova. The internet is much easier to use for older people nowadays.
True
But anyway.
As for who thought it was a good idea, apparently some of the people from other better movies. What the heck happened here?
What exactly? Like, I'm honestly convinced that the people who wrote this movie haven't even seen the first one, and even then, like, they weren't even thinking when they wrote this. Literally, they specified a shipping goal of shipping these characters, and they didn't care how they got to that. Because they don't even think about the things they're doing. The script constantly contradicts itself. It has the characters spell out unreasonable things and expecting us to side with said unreasonable thoughts, and it's just, it's so terrible. The characters are almost all of them are completely out of character. Like, even Shang, who is the only one reasonable, eventually goes brain dead after falling down that bridge.
Maybe that's what did it.
Yeah. That's what did it. We lost Shang too.
If only if he could have been as tough as Phoenix Wright, who only got a cold from that.
So basically, here's the real plot of Mulan 2. Mulan and Mushu were kidnapped by aliens and replaced with stupid clones.
Mushu apparently managed to escape by the end of the movie, but unfortunately the damage was done.
Shang fell and hit his head, and as a result, he became a moron. There's they're right, and there's like these three people who got together with these other three people, but nobody cares because they're just archetype characters. The basic point is, this movie is terrible. The story is nonsensical. It's offensive. It's flat out mind-bogglingly terrible because. Literally, the main characters literally doom China to doom, and they just move on. They don't address any of this, and so basically, the end of the Mulan canon is China burning down. There you go. We're all dead.
Never did get that sequel.
And they all died. The end. Like, what the actual fuck? So this is supposed to be a movie made for kids? They completely shit. Mulan's character in particular is the one that bothers me the most. Like, the fact that they've completely regressed her and made her into such a dumbass who doesn't give a shit about planning things, even though that goes completely against what was established in the first film, where the men were the ones who were hot-headed and jumped first into things, whereas Mulan actually used her brain. You know, remember that's how she got the freaking spear, or no, not the spear. That's how she got the arrow out of that pole. Because unlike it's kind of like in Captain America: First Avenger. Remember?
I mean, okay. To be fair, even she didn't get it on the first try. Like a lot of times, what was different was that she fought it through eventually. Like, okay, I mean, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but that's the major problem. It's like, oh, I get Mulan at first going through with this mentality. The problem is that unlike the first Mulan movie, she never adapts or changes her thoughts. Like, that's what made Mulan in the first Mulan movie. Sure, she could go in hot-headed just as much as the other guys could. What was different was that she knew how to adapt, but she never adapts in this movie. And that's not a good lesson to tell your kids, I'm just gonna say. Like, I'm gonna say this, even as a kid, I felt something was wrong with this movie.
It's absolutely rancid. I guess aside from the animation, the only possible positive I can think of is the Portuguese dub, which was the one I grew up with, because the Portuguese dub brought back all of the actors, and the actor who plays Mushu in the Portuguese dub of both movies is one of our very best voice actors, and he's not an Eddie Murphy impersonator. I imagine that they wouldn't try to impersonate Eddie Murphy. No. Well, sometimes we do, Joe, but a lot of times we actually have plenty of actors who are capable of imitating the original actor's performances.
Really? Well, yeah, true. You showed me as such, but I've never really figured you'd have one who could do an Eddie Murphy, do you?
No, trust me, Joe, but there's no Eddie Murphy equivalent in my country. It just wouldn't work. You need to go a different direction for this character.
Yeah.
The same thing, to give you an idea, Joe, but the same actor who played Mushu in both movies also is the voice of Donkey in the Shrek franchise.
Wow.
He's basically the go-to Eddie Murphy dubbing actor.
I'm guessing that he goes for more silly as opposed to, cool and slick like Eddie Murphy's.
Yeah, he goes more for a silly thing. Basically, we go into a completely different direction for Mushu, and it worked fine because the character was still remained intact, and it was still faithful to the intent of the characterization, not so much the vocal performance, but the actual character himself was still intact. It was just made in a more...
writing let him down.
It was just more a silly voice for the sake of the comic relief aspect, but he was still perfectly capable of... Basically, it's different, but not necessarily worse. So Mushu is more tolerable in my version. That's the only possible other positive I could scrounge up from my brain.
Wait. So does your dub actually change the writing? Because otherwise...
No, we didn't change the writing, Joe, but the big difference is that unlike you guys who grew up with the English version, I, who grew up with the Portuguese dub, I didn't get the disparity of having Mushu not being voiced by the original actor.
Oh, that's the least of my worries. It's like when you said at least he's more tolerable, I thought you were talking about the writing.
Well, Joe, aside from the animation, this is the best positive I can think of.
Ouch.
Sorry, this is me trying my best to imitate you, but this is the best I can do.
I don't blame you.
Yes.
Yeah, coming from the perspective of someone who thought the first film was just all right. Yeah, this is not a very good follow-up at all, is it?
No. At least the first movie, like I said, at least the first movie was trying to have some kind of dignity.
The songs are just...
Whatever.
The songs are just lame. I couldn't even keep up with the plot because there was like 50 of them.
Don't worry, Dubs, they're all terrible.
I'll agree with you on that one. And honestly, honestly, I think even like the best characters are weighed down by at least one really stupid thing that they do.
No arguments there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how the hell Mushu didn't get any kind of comeuppance for his actions?
Don't worry, Dubs, he will. Oh, don't worry, Dubs, he will. As will all of China. They'll all die.
Well, he's kind of a dragon spirit, so could they kill him? Would he even die?
Joe, the gods of Egypt showed that gods could die, so maybe.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's a dragon spirit, though. I mean, no one's ever... Well, yeah, okay, he can get hurt, but would he get killed?
Well, how about this, Dubs? Even if he does live, he'll have to live with the fact that his own stupid actions doomed his best friend and the entirety of China, which means he will live an eternal life full of dread and horribleness and shame. So he will get his comeuppance regardless.
Unless
the
sequel that they had planned...
Yeah, Pedro, at the cost of billions of people.
Well, Dibs, I don't know what to tell you.
Unless, what if the sequel that they had planned had a happy ending? Since apparently the sequel was... Well, we won't know.
The sequel never happened, so it doesn't matter. Moving on.
The only happy ending for that film I can think of is Mushu having to spend the rest of his days alone on a sinking wooden ship drifting in the ocean.
Wow, this movie really made you hate Mushu. Not that I can blame you.
Well, I didn't even like him that much in the first movie, so...
Move on,
this just made things worse, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty shitty sequel, or I guess the only reason I can maybe think this is better than Cinderella 2 in terms of crap Disney direct-to-video Disney sequels is that at least it tried to have a contained plot as opposed to being a really poor disguised pilot for a TV show.
So are you saying that you like this one better than Cinderella 2?
Not by much.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it this. It's nowhere near as boring as Cinderella 2. Oh, God.
Oh,
And
and,
even
hey, at least this one didn't have a crappy techno remix of a beloved song.
oh yeah, I can definitely say that because I hate that so much.
Bippity boppity boo.
That sounds like something you'd hear on like the freaking Disney equivalent of Kids Bop or something.
It actually, I think it may have been on Disney. Oh wait, no. It actually wasn't on Disney Mania.
Hannah
And-
Montana sings Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, but anyway, that's me done. Jova?
Close us out.
My friends, this has been a journey of great dishonor, and a journey that is befitting of a funeral. Hence this black umbrella that I've just opened. That
Really?
you cannot
This is
see.
I never asked to go on this journey though.
Unfortunately, it seems that destiny found our hearts, made us as one, and has brought us together on this funeral march.
Well, our duty is to our hearts apparently, so I guess that fits.
Well, tell us, Pedro, what does your heart say about this movie?
That this movie is garbage.
And what is your heart telling you to do with this movie?
Well, I can't burn it because I don't actually own it.
I deleted it.
Very
Me
good,
too.
Dwibs. Very good. See? Mulan told us to listen to our hearts, so our hearts are telling us to destroy this. You know, at least it's not as bad as what George Lucas's heart is telling him to do to every copy of Star Wars The Holiday Special with an axe.
Hammer.
And no, I'm not kidding. He actually said that. But this movie, this is one of the most offensive follow-ups to a beloved Disney classic that there is. Like, it is nowhere near the worst animation of them. It actually has pretty good animation. But all that is toppled by what they do to the characters. It's like they twisted them inside out and made them abominations before your very eyes. Not only that, it feels like they're caricatures of themselves. Specifically with the trio comedy. You know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, the three guys, they were funny in the original year. They feel like they're just along for the ride and to be love interests. Again, let me remind you, the last scene we really see of them, and no, the mirrored scene doesn't count, but whatever. The last scene where they're actually talking is them saying that they're going to go help save the day. They don't lift a finger to help Shang when he's being seized. They're just there in the crowd. And they bow and, oh, what do you know? They can be with the ones they love. Oh, happy, happy, joy, joy. China's about to die, joy, joy.
It's so wonderful that our go-to Disney actress who plays Rapunzel, Belle in Beauty and the Beast, because she's also the voice
Oh,
actress
she was
for
in this
Mulan.
movie?
Well, the thing is, Joe, we have a Portuguese actress over here who's basically a Disney-led Portugal legend.
Oh, you're talking about Disney Portugal.
She's basically the go-to for Disney. She plays Rapunzel. She played Belle in Beauty and the Beast. She played Mulan. She played Ariel. She's basic. To give you an idea, Jova, here's her thoughts.
She's the Disney princess.
To give you an idea, Jova, here's what she had to say in an interview about Ralph Breaks the Internet. I never had to record so many lines for one scene.
Oh, right, she would have been all those princesses.
No, she was Shiroi. Like she
Oh,
was.
wow.
So she literally played all the princesses in the room except for Penelope.
No, not all of them. She was Ariel, Mulan, Belle, and Rapunzel.
That's still 4, though. I mean,
Well, she's one of the primary. And remember, Shiroi, all the actresses come back. Remember, this thing, Shiroi, Annabella is one of our very best actresses in my country, and she had and she was wasted on this tripe.
I wonder how she feels knowing that some of her Fox roles are now going to also be owned to Disney, especially if they make some of those Fox princesses also Disney princesses.
It's interesting. Well, actually, never mind.
No, go on.
Christopher Camelot is Warner Brothers, so it doesn't apply.
Oh, yeah. But hey, if Anastasia becomes a Disney princess...
Well, she was Anastasia in that movie. So
wow,
yeah,
I was taking a random guess, but wow, you really do have your voice actors and actresses get around a lot.
No, they do. Like, we don't really have exclusivity here. Like, a lot of, for example, she was also Moses' sister who sings "When You Believe" in Prince of Egypt, and she's wonderful in that role. But sorry,
much as I love talking about good stuff.
Sorry, audience, I drifted off into a better place. Go ahead, Jova, bring us back to hell.
This movie, aka Mulan II, Let's Doom China. Like, that's essentially what this is, folks. It's a movie about Mulan dooming China.
Yep.
And not even in a good way. Like, look.
So the first movie, she saves China. In the second movie, she dooms it. I guess it's a good dichotomy.
Again, I'll just say it like this. Okay, the reason her mentality worked in the first one was, well, for one thing, she knew how to adapt to the situation. And even still, sure, what she did could be considered selfish, but at least what she did was, it felt like a good thing, because it wasn't dooming more people here and there. These are innocent people here. And in this movie, it feels like she just doesn't care. And that just doesn't feel like Mulan. Mulan cared about life. That's why she took her father's place in the army. And I think it's safe to assume that she actually did want to help her country. Like, I think that's safe to assume. It's just, man, oh man.
It's more so the fact, Jova, that despite her defying authority in the first movie, she was still a responsible person who had a strong sense of honor and, like I said, responsibility.
Yes.
Whereas in here, she doesn't having any of that.
And you know what? Like I said, maybe it would have been an interesting thing where Shang's actually the voice of reason. Except the movie doesn't treat it like that. Holy cow, Shang gets the short end of the stick here. And at the short end of the stick, at the expense of Mushu, what did they do to you, man? You were so funny, so cool, so elegant in the first movie. Like, yeah, you were a bit selfish, but you had an arc about not being that selfish, to the point where he legitimately did want to help Mulan. Here... It's a mess. It's a goddamn fiasco of a mess. Again, there are some funny jokes here, like the whole betting on Mulan's proposal thing and some other jokes that I cannot remember. Shiroi, help me out here. Oh, right. Yeah.
The jokes involving the family were pretty good.
And those were all at the beginning. Oh, right. There's one other joke where Mushu kind of gets his comeuppance when he gets taken away by the cart, saying, "Oh, spirits, take me away." That's it. This movie is lacking in action badly. Like, I'm not saying that, it has to be the same as the first movie, but, considering how the first Mulan had a lot of action, was it really too much to want some more of that in this movie?
I wouldn't even mind. Okay, it's probably because of the lower budget, Jova, maybe because they would require much higher animation budget. I wouldn't mind the lack of action.
Okay, for comparison's sake.
Hold on, I wouldn't mind them taking a more character-driven direction. Like, make this, instead of an action-adventure movie, make it more of a character-driven movie to overcome the budget limitation. I would be fine with that if they had a good story to back that decision up, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't. And okay, maybe if they had more comedy, but it's not really funny, and in a lot of points, they're trying to actually be serious. Again, okay, for comparison's sake, Lion King 2 has a good bout of action here to match up with the first one. Heck, even Lion King 1.5, which was more comedy-based, still has quite a bit of action here. Little Mermaid 2 has action. Little Mermaid 3, oh my god, no, I'm not going to mention that one because that movie is boring, but... Okay, yeah, Little Mermaid 3 does... No, even Little Mermaid 3 has that action scene at the end. It's just... The first Mulan movie focused a lot on it. It feels so weak here. Like, that's the worst thing about this movie. It feels watered down, but in the worst possible ways. It waters down what was good to make it slowly, but ever so poisonously, veer into the realms of terrible. It catches you off guard. It's sickening. God, I really do get passionate when it comes to the sequel, as does everyone else. Why this sequel of all things? Oh, that's right, because our heroes doom China!
Yeah.
What more can I say?
Which basically renders the entire act of saving China in the first movie pointless.
Okay, folks, for those who don't know or have lived under a rock for 2 decades... Yeah, almost 2 decades. Holy cow, this movie's nearly... Actually, no, this movie is...
Whatever, the basic point is this movie sucks. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah, folks, a lot of people get riled when they talk about this movie. I think you can see why.
That's because this movie makes it so personal if you like the first movie. It's like this movie was made by people who hate the first movie.
Like, okay, for example, Lion King 2. Lion King 2 makes Simba an even better character than he was in the first movie.
Actually,
because it
that's
shows that
exactly
he's a
good,
proper adult and king. Little Mermaid 2 shows that Ariel is doing her best to try and grow up. Heck, I'm going to say this, even Cinderella Flippin' 2 at least shows how the characters get better, especially with Anastasia, the more charismatic.
Cinderella at the very least had the Anastasia segment. That was nice, but everything else was crap. But
I can't believe I'm saying this. Even Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 showed how some of the
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there.
Actually, never mind. No. True, I'm going a bit too far. A lot of the characters are actually worsened in that movie.
Not just that. Let's not forget. We're dragging this out at this point. Moving on. The point is, this movie sucks major balls. There's no Mulan 3, so whatever thing they were trying to plan on fixing this didn't happen, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, I guess we can say that this movie is technically historically accurate with how China's doomed.
The conclusion of the Mulan canon is that everybody dies. And we're done. So we're done.
Again, technically, historically, it's technically historically accurate, sadly.
Well, sure, that's what this movie's telling me. Like, even taking away the historical thing that Joe just mentioned, that's what this movie's telling me. Because remember, this movie clearly established, Shiroi, in the beginning by Mr. Miyagi, I mean the Emperor, that if we didn't ally ourselves with whatever the kingdom's name was, the Mongolians would attack, and we don't have the proper manpower to fight them, which means we would risk the destruction of the entire China. So yeah, we're all dead. They're dead.
Everyone is dead.
Just because we don't see it happen, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
And I'm being called. Wrap it up.
Well, we're done here. See you, everybody.
See you for our next Disney sequel commentary. Oh, Little Mermaid, Ariel's beginning.
Well, I like the first scene, that flashback scene, but after that, it's all downhill as far as I'm concerned.
Let me put it like this. I kind of like Little Mermaid 2 better than the original in some regards, but as for the movie itself, just tune in for then.
See ya.
See ya.